Each of you represents some of the most powerful criminal organizations in the galaxy. Pikes, Crimson Dawn, Hutts. It's a golden age for the underworld. The Empire controls every corner of the galaxy, but they're distracted by a rebellion that won't quit. It's an opportunity to make millions.
Kay Vess, the underworld's favorite new scoundrel. We meet at last.
What do you want?
Zarek Besh. They're new, rich, and lethal. You crossed their boss Slero, and now he wants you gone. Rob his fortune, and buy your freedom.
This job, it's a death wish. I'm in.
Welcome, Masters and Padawans, to episode 562 of Full of Sith. It's me, Bryan, young. I don't know why that had a question mark on it.
You're like, maybe now I'm Bryan older? I don't...
Yeah. And with me, as ever, the other host of the show, Holly Frey?
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 Sure.
How you doing, Holly?
You know, we're kicking along. How about you?
I'm kicking something. But excited to talk this week. Really, really excited, actually. We're going to be talking Star Wars Outlaws this week, which really surprised about some of the articles I've been reading about it lately.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me. I'm not up to date, dude.
Just that sales have been really soft, and people... there's a lot of like dismay about it, and it hasn't been doing that well. And Ubisoft is like, their stock prices have dropped because of underperformance or something. It's sold 1 million copies, which to me seems astounding, especially for how much I paid for it. Right? Like,
yeah,
that seems like a lot. I bought the gold edition, and it was like $100, and if they sold 1 million copies at close to that price, that's like $100 million.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But we'll break it all down.
Selling. No, it just seems like that was low for an Ubisoft game, and there was a lot of the normal controversy around the game. For those of you who haven't picked it up or haven't heard about the game yet, Star Wars Outlaws is an open world sort of story single player game. It follows Kay Vess, who's a thief outlaw sort of person. She is really fun to play. She's a slicer and a thief from Canto Bight, and she's got a little what is Nyx? Nyx is a
his species?
Yeah, a Mercal.
This can be.
Yeah, and he's just adorable. He looks like a mix between a cat and an axolotl.
Yeah. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, no, exactly. And she kind of falls in with the wrong crowd. Her mother's sort of terrible, and she gets double-crossed by the rebellion, breaking into the safe of a huge player on Canto Bight by the rebellion. And has to go on the run for her life, and then gets drawn into a heist that might clear the death mark on her name. And that's where she runs into a guy named Jalen Vrax and his droid commando ND5. And she has to put together the team that is going to pull off this heist. And the stakes only get higher from there.
Exciting.
Yeah,
I'm not even that far in it. You have just told me new information.
Well, it was funny too, because like I took like a week off of like projects to play, thinking like surely I can get through this game in a week. And Patty and I my wife and our kid, like we went to like we went to like an like this timeshare situation that Patty's mom had. We went out and like I took the kids swimming and just I brought the PlayStation and brought Outlaws, and I was just like, I've got 4 days. I'm just gonna play and play and play, and I'll get through it. And just like one of the nights, I spent like 5 hours on just one mission trying to sneak into the Pike Syndicate territory.
This is where I'm still hung up. That's why I haven't gotten.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's been a very busy fall for me, which is great. But it's
Yeah.
like I kind of can only set aside like 45 minutes to an hour at a time to play if I'm lucky. And so
Yeah.
like I just keep coming up against, a wall with that where I'm like, I have not managed to get through this yet, and I will have to eventually, but it might just need to be after everything calms down. And then I'll just sit with it and play. I will get through the Pike Syndicate eventually.
I was playing, so like I played for the first like 2 days, and like on the end of the second day, I finally hit like the title screen where it's like Star Wars Outlaws.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not anywhere near close to finishing this game. This week is not going to be enough. And then as we were packing up the condo, I realized, like, I looked at the cover and I was like, wait, who the hell's that droid on the cover?
I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, so it took me a pretty solid month of playing at the pace I was able to play in order to beat the game. And now, a couple months in, I mean, it came out August 30th. It's October 20th. I've been through the game pretty thoroughly. There's still some loose ends I'm wrapping up, as far as like there's little missions and little nooks and crannies to explore that like Nix has little trinkets he wants to find and things like that to trade for some more costumes for him and things like that I want to find. But other than that, I've been through all the missions in the game I can find. I've been through the main story, and I really love it. And even though I've been through the main story, I'm still drawn to play it. Kingston has been playing it, and he absolutely loves it. And he has been like, it's been really fun going through and helping him go through missions, as he's been going through it. And I mean, he's 9, and although it is rated teen, I was hesitant at first because it is a lot of like, let's go shoot that person in the face and pickpocket his wallet.
Mm-hmm.
It is still very Star Wars. It's not like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of.
It's not especially gory in its violence.
Yeah, it's not like you're cutting people in half with lightsabers. It's not. There's definitely, I can tell that there's. He gets a lot of anxiety about whether or not he should double cross this syndicate or that syndicate, and he's very worried about keep maintaining his reputation with each of the syndicates.
That's
And
how I
that
play,
causes-
so I feel him.
Yeah, that causes him a lot of anxiety. But yeah, the game is very fun. The worlds are very expansive and well rendered, and I'm really sort of baffled by where a lot of the complaints about the game are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything needs to have the caveat that, like, Star Wars has become, just by its nature or by its largeness, polarized, right? So anything that comes out, there will be people that absolutely love it and people that will say it's trash, whether they have actually played it or not, doesn't really matter. I mean, I am definitely in that casual middle ground, right? I think most of it's beautiful. Every once in a while there's a weird render. So it's not like I'm going to say like it's perfect and amazing, but it's really fun. I mean, listen, part of why I haven't gotten any farther than I have gotten is that there are so many Rhodians that I just stop and take pictures of all of them.
There are
Did
a
I
lot of
have one of those Rhodians printed on a shirt for myself? Yes. Because I just love it so much. And there's so many Rhodians. Like, I could just walk around the underworld of Canto Bight for days. Because there's so much fun stuff. So, I mean, it feels very immersive in that regard. To me, that's like the dream. That's what I want.
Yeah, no, it is very immersive, and it is cool to hang out and be able to go to different places. It's cool to be able to hang out on Tashara. Tashara is a planet I didn't know anything about before coming into this game, and being able to hang out there and explore it so thoroughly, and its history through the way the game takes you through it was really fun. And to be able to explore Tatooine and have it be familiar, to be able to walk into the cantina and play there
Right.
was really fun. To be able to explore Mos Eisley was really great, but not just Mos Eisley, like Jabba's palace and so many different places around that area. And the space around these planets, and Kijimi and Akiva, which was really great. There were so many ties throughout this story to so much of the literature of Star Wars, right? Like,
Yeah.
it plays with Aftermath really well. I don't know, since you haven't played through it, I don't know how much you want me to say or not, Holly.
I'm not worried about spoilers at all. So,
Okay.
and it's late enough in the game, haha, no pun intended, that I feel like, any concern I have about spoilers is my issue and no one else's.
Like, Akiva is one of the main planets here, and I was really surprised to see it. And this is where we first met Temmin Wexley in
Yeah.
Aftermath, and Temmin's a major player in the game.
Which is so cool. I already knew that.
Okay.
I mean, I really, really appreciate all of that, right? Like, that's part of, as I say, I'm running around taking pictures of all the Rhodians, but I really appreciate the care with which things that we have known about has been integrated into this in a way that we get to explore it, like you said, in a new way. I haven't gotten to Tatooine yet, and I'm almost scared to, because I may never go any farther. Clearly, I love Tatooine for all the reasons that anybody else does. And the idea of seeing it in a new way from a new perspective is really quite thrilling. So that to me is what's most exciting about a game like this, is that it can take you all the places you know about, but you get to experience them in a way you never have before.
Yeah, and this game, well, that's the thing I love about it, is that, like, this game is second, really. Like, I'm not a big fan of open world games. I will put that caveat out there right off the bat. Open world games are not my favorite. There was that open world Zelda game that everybody praised to high heaven, and I tried it and I noped out really fast. I did not like it. I was much more interested in being able to be pointed where I needed to go and have those rails and just go there. And it was Ghost of Tsushima that really turned me around on that. The way the gameplay really elegantly guided me to where I was supposed to go, but allowed me to go where I wanted, and then guide me back to where I needed to go, and not penalize me for wandering around and puttering around doing side missions or whatever, and that I could take the story at my own pace. Felt very revolutionary and very much like a revelation, and let me experience everything the way I wanted to, rather than, in a lot of open world games, if you wander into the wrong spot at the wrong time of the game, you're just dead, right? I even had some of those moments in the last Jedi game, not the Last Jedi, but Jedi Survivor.
Right.
where it's like, oh, I wonder what's in this cave. Oh, that's a rancor, and I have 1 bar of health. I'm dead, right? Not because I didn't have enough health. It was just like I hadn't earned enough health through the process of the game yet, and I didn't
Right.
have any skills to fight it. And it was just like, oh, and I'm going to respawn right there, or need to go get my stuff. And it's just like I'm in this recursive loop of this rancor just killing me because I wandered into the wrong cave at the wrong part of the game.
Right.
And Outlaws doesn't do that, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm actually surprised that you say that you don't like open world play. That took me a little by surprise because it seems like the kind of thing you would love.
It has become something I've liked when the developers and the narrative developers have been able to master it in a way that they've been able to with like Ghost of Tsushima or Star Wars Outlaws, where you can just kind of go wherever, and they give you map tools that actually help you get to where you need to go or where you want to go, and let you adjust those things without making you feel overtly put upon by those things.
Right.
But that also, like, you can experience the story in any order and it doesn't feel improper.
Right.
Right? That like even now occasionally, even though I've beaten the game, I've been through the main story, I'm wandering through towns trying to find anything I might have missed, and I'll still overhear a wisp of a conversation and come over and listen to it, and I'll get a new mission. And it's like, oh, this was something I missed during the main battle, and I could see where it might, or the main course of the mission, and I could see where it might have fit in better earlier, but there's nothing in it inherently that doesn't mean I can't do it now.
Right.
And I'm able to complete it, and it's fine, right? It didn't diminish my enjoyment to do it after, and it wouldn't have been too hard if I would have done it earlier in the game, and it all fits still.
Yeah.
And in fact, there were some that were really surprising that I really enjoyed, that I didn't even think about it. It's like some of them are really cool, and it actually rewards you for going around and exploring.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where like the better you learn the map, the more it actually benefits you, rather than finding out later like, oh, I was supposed to go that place in this order and now I can't. Like, I have definitely gotten stuck on those where I have puttered around in the way that I want to do, and then I have accidentally done something that was supposed to be a step several parts later in a mission, and like I can't replicate it, not in this game but in other games. And this one does not seem to have that problem, which is great because I like to putter around.
No, I mean, there's definitely, I won't say, like you said, there's definitely glitches in the game. There's definitely parts where like there were a couple of missions that I had completed by wandering around and then later got the intelligence for, but the intelligence didn't clear. So I would spend 2 hours looking around for something else because I'd already found the treasure box that was supposed to clear that intelligence.
Right.
And just like, well, there's got to be something else here. It's still on my map. And then like I would get angry and then go look it up online and go like, wait, I already found that box. Why is it not clearing? And then I would go to like some question thread on Reddit and go like, this is a known issue. It's like, yeah. Or, every once in a while, probably once a week, I would find that like the game would just glitch and I'd have to restart my computer or my PlayStation.
Right.
It's not without its flaws, but that doesn't take away the overall enjoyability of it.
I mean, I feel like very few games that ship anymore aren't pretty full of flaws, right?
Yeah, no, I can't like, it's not like they're printing games on cartridges these days and shipping them complete, right? You're
Right.
not getting punch out on a cartridge and that's it, and you never hear from the developer again.
Yeah, I mean, this one, right? It was like right after it released, like something like a day and a half later, they did a massive update to it that actually kind of borked people's games if they had gotten in there and really dug in already.
Yeah. And there was another one they did a little bit after that toned down that mission that took me 5 or 6 hours to do.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and played since that, so
actually that was funny too, because I had spent so much time doing that mission, and Kingston, when he got to that mission, it was after that update, and he was like, "This is really hard. Can I have help doing this?" And I was like, "Oh, buddy, this is going to be really hard." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll just give you the controller." And he was playing on story mode, which was easier than the mode I was playing on, and it was after that update. And he's like, "Well, just do it for me, and I'll watch how to do it." And it took me one try in about 6 seconds, and I was like, "Oh, they really made it easier."
Yeah, somebody had told me they had done that, and I haven't had a chance to try it again and see if that's true. Because frankly, I'm still too busy wandering around and trying to look at Radiance. It's a lot of Rodians and a lot of Twi'leks. Not a complaint, by the way. Just delight.
They really hit the diversity of the Star Wars universe pretty well. It's just a gorgeous looking game in general. And I really love all the individual stories. I love the audioscape. I really love the music to the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's even Star Wars games where the music will get on my nerves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, sometimes like the pod racer game.
Uh-huh. I'm trying to remember.
They only
the music.
use like 2 tracks. And they seem to blast them over and over and over again, and it's almost like inappropriately so. And it's like, if I play that game for an hour, I'm kind of done, because like the music kind of just gets in rattling in my teeth.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But like this, like the music is really perfect, the way it transitions and the way it works, and like I would totally get this soundtrack on vinyl. Kingston has actually, like, it stresses him out too, because if you get to the point where like you're setting off alarms and you're sneaking around, and it knows, it kind of knows that you're in stealth mode or whatever, like the music gets more tense, and Kingston just goes like, "This music is really freaking me out," and he'll turn the volume down because he can't take it, and it stresses him out even more.
I do play just like Kingston.
Yeah.
Although I will say, one of the things in general that I have loved about Star Wars games recently, right? Like Fallen Order and Survivor both have this too. There's some good diegetic music that I can then play in the cantina, and it expands my personal jukebox.
Yeah, no, Kingston will spend a lot of time at the jukeboxes too, because there are jukeboxes in all the cantinas, and you can just change the music.
Yes, and then if it gets released, I will just download it for my own personal day-to-day life.
That was one of my favorite side missions. Is there's a mission where you end up in Jabba's palace. You end up in Jabba's palace, and there's this band that's going to go on, and they're terrified that they're going to suck because A, they're going to be performing in front of Jabba, and B, their drummer's taken off to just go solo. And the manager's like, "I don't know what we're going to do. If we piss off Jabba, you know what happens." And you have to track down their drummer and try to convince him to go back. And part of tracking him down is like listening to the songs on the jukeboxes to see if you can find his music and stuff. And it's terrible because it's just drums and stuff. And he's just this weak-way drummer who's like a 60s hippie drummer.
I love it.
And it's
Love
just
it.
really funny, and you've got to figure out a way to convince him to go back to Jabba's palace so the rest of his band doesn't get killed by Jabba for sucking.
I mean, you can't trust a weak way.
No, not at all. And I love so much the sabacc in the game.
I ordered a deck, so I'm excited.
I've opened it and I'm thinking about I talked to Patty about ordering it, and she's like, how much is it? And I'm like, but it's worth it. And she's like, it's a sabacc deck. And I'm like, but it's a prop replica sabacc deck.
Of course it's worth it.
Yeah.
Of course it's worth it. Yeah, I pre-ordered one, so I'm excited. I have been this is off topic slightly, but I have been talking more with friends about getting a sabacc league up and running. Like a regular, monthly game or something here at the house. So I have a vested interest.
But Kessel sabacc is really good. I think of all the variants of sabacc, I think it's my favorite.
That's what everybody has told me, and I haven't gotten a chance to play it, and I'm excited because, I mean, did you play much Coruscant Shift on the Star Cruiser?
Yeah, I played a bit.
Because that one's so easy to pick up and learn for people, unlike Corellian Spike, which has hands that you should memorize.
Corellian Shift was fine, but it didn't feel like there was a strategy to it, right? Like, there was a little bit of strategy, but it didn't have a lot of layers of depth to it.
No, it's much more chance.
Yeah, and with Kessel sabacc and with the shift cards, there is a lot of strategy to it, especially with the two suits, and how you can only hold one card from each suit, and how you can mess depending on which shift tokens you have, because the shift tokens can do different things, right? Like, your shift tokens can do things from reverse the value of the hands. So if you play a shift on the last go around that makes it so that you reverse the values of the hands, somebody who's sitting with prime sabacc and double ones, or a one and a Psylop, or a pair of Psylop, well, the pair of Psylops would still be okay. All of a sudden that's the worst hand, and somebody sitting with a pair of sixes is going to win. So if you draw a pair of sixes and know you've got that shift token and you play that at the end, you could screw a lot of people. Like, there's some strategy to that.
Right.
The other thing is you've got the imposter cards, which roll the dice. There's a shift card that allows you to set the value of that imposter card for everyone until the end of the turn to a 6, so that if somebody's holding an imposter card and a 1 to try to get that chance of getting sabacc, you screwed them for that turn, so that they have to try to do something. So there's a lot of strategy, but you only get 3 shift cards for the entire hand, or the entire game, and you only have a certain amount of tokens that you can play with. So the game only lasts up to 4, 5, or 6 hands, depending on how well people play and stay in the game.
Right.
And then you have to buy in again for everybody, and you'll knock everybody out sort of slowly. It's really fun. And it has more depth than Corellian than the Corellian Spike. I don't know. It's just it's more thinky, but it's easy, and that's what I really like about it.
Thinky but easy, the Bryan Young story.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I can't wait to dig into it some more. It's interesting because, as you've said, people have been saying this is not considered a financial hit. And I hope that doesn't mean that it's doomed to not get a sequel, right? Like, I haven't done comparisons of like how this versus like Fallen Order has done. Um, but it feels so new and fresh in how open it is and how much is going on. I mean, it's thick, it's dense with stuff. So I hope we get more of the same, because it feels to me the closest to immersion that you can get in a video game that isn't necessarily VR. And that's always what I want the most of. So
Yeah, and I mean, I was skeptical of it too, because I do prefer the lightsaber stuff to the blaster stuff, right? Like in the last Jedi game, in Survivor, like I know they gave us the option to run around with a blaster and a saber, and I never took it. Right? Like I'm
yeah.
not the fan of the blasters, but this, they really made that system really smooth to the point where I was like, I really enjoy it. And they made it fun. They made it feel like if you were playing a scoundrel, like it really gave you that feeling. And I can't wait for the DLC content. I really can't.
Yeah.
And I can see myself paying for the DLC content repeatedly, right? Like I know we've got 2 coming out. If they do another pass, I'm totally in.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't need a sequel. Maybe we just need endless DLC content.
Yeah. Although it does make me chuckle that you and I are very opposite, because I don't care about the lightsabers, but I will do blastery scoundrel stuff all day long.
Yeah.
So I feel very catered to with this one.
And I mean, the other thing is like, I was really nervous about the stealth stuff because like, I was nervous at the beginning because I felt like the stealth stuff was too hard.
Yeah.
But then I kind of started getting the hang of it, and then they did the patch, so it was like I'd both gotten the hang of it and they made it a little easier.
So then you were the master.
Yeah. But I have liked stealth games a lot in the past, and one of my favorites back on like PlayStation 1, I think, was like Tenchu Stealth Assassin, and it kind of got that feel. And part of it too is like leveling up Nyx. Like leveling up Nyx to help you with the stealth stuff is so helpful.
Right.
That it made it so much easier, especially like as soon as you can blast through Tatooine and its main missions, just so that you can get the skill where Nyx can go up and detonate grenades on stormtroopers. It's the best skill to have.
There you go. There's the tip that I need.
Oh man. And the other fun thing is like, have you gone and had a meal with Nyx yet?
No.
Oh man, those are the best. So like on every planet, there's a restaurant you can go to. If you're already on Toshara, you are on Toshara, right?
Yes.
In Miragana, in the marketplace, there's a restaurant, and you can go there, and you sit down, you have a meal, and you have to actually play it, and like go back and forth with you and Nyx, and you have this adorable, beautifully rendered meal, and then at the end, Nyx gets a special ability.
Oh. Is this the restaurant that I walked through and was horrified because no one is bussing the tables?
Probably.
Like there are dirty bus bins just sitting out on tables.
Probably, but like this is a restaurant where it's just counter service right up with the chef, and there's like a droid chef there.
Okay, that's a different one then.
And it's in the marketplace near the Crimson Dawn territory.
Gotcha.
And every planet that you go to, Kijimi, Akiva, and Tatooine, on top of Toshara, all have these. And you sort of equip them as Nyx's special abilities. And so he gets a different special ability with each meal you gain with him, and do this as like a bonding exercise with him. And it's just adorable and fun and highlights a different bit of like galactic cuisine.
Love it.
It seems very up your alley.
It sounds very up my alley. And then
Yeah,
I'll have
and
to make all the food in real
yeah,
life.
it was very fun, and Nyx is just adorable. And the problem is there, yeah, just when you get through Tatooine, um, it was very stressful. There's the Tatooine main mission. Um, that was a very fun, stressful night, actually. Patty was trying to convince me to go to bed, and again, this is a spoiler, so I can stop if you want me to. But
No, go ahead.
um, as you're going through the main mission on Tatooine, it comes to a moment where the guy you're trying to recruit for the heist basically sandbags you, knocks you out, and then pays off a debt with Nyx.
No, thank you.
And you wake up and basically like are hell bent for revenge, and you're like, I'm gonna go back and get Nyx, and they're like, they already sold him to Jabba, and you're like, I don't care. And the game is so like, if you walk, like, even like if you stray from the path of heading toward Jabba's palace, even by like 5 feet, it's like return to the quest. Like, it will not let you go anywhere but straight toward heading to rescue Nyx. And basically, you have to go straight to break into Jabba's palace, murder everyone on the way, and rescue Nyx. And Patty was like, "You need to come to bed." I'm like, "No, I have to save Nyx right now.
I have to murder everyone.
I have to murder everyone and save Nyx." Yeah, no, I did that. I stayed up way too late that night because I had to save Nyx. There was no two ways about it.
Yeah.
None. I had to save Nyx.
Yeah, I'm no argument here. You did the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after that point is when that's when you can gain the person that you can gain the skills to learn how to give Nyx the ability to go detonate grenades.
Gotcha.
I love all of this. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I didn't get all of the skills before I beat the game, and I kind of wish I had. But it was fun going through and just challenging myself to figure out how to earn all of the skills after I beat the game.
Right. Okay, since I have not played through it and you have, what coming out the other end do you wish it had that it didn't?
I kind of wish that it had more variety in the jobs that you can take from the job brokers. I don't know if you have been able to take jobs from the job brokers yet. If you've met that Mon Calamari woman, Donka, yes.
I love her desperately. This is part of why why I don't get very far, is because I'm like, I must take 22 glamour shots of Donka.
So like, Donka's just the first of dozens of job brokers that you get, and like, after you play through all like the main sort of primary missions each job broker has for you, they sort of just cycle through the same like 4 missions. Like, after you do a couple of very specific jobs for Bib Fortuna, every time you go back to Bib Fortuna, he's got one job for you. You have to take one parcel from Jabba's palace, and he will give you 1,600 credits to take it from there to a very specific point out in the Salt Flats, and people will chase you, and it's exactly the same every single time.
Oh, interesting. I mean,
right?
Except not, but you know what
I mean. Yeah. There's this one job that about 5 different brokers will give you where you have to pickpocket one specific Imperial at one specific facility. And it's like, after 10 times of doing that one job, A, you know how to do it really, really, really well. And B, it's like, do I really want to go out to that one base to pickpocket that one dude that's going to take me about 5 minutes to pay me, what is that, 200 credits? No thanks. So I wish there was a little more variety, and I'm hoping that with the DLC we'll get more variety in those jobs from the brokers.
Right.
And I kind of wish the tutorial for the Sabacc was a little better. They didn't really explain the game very well. It took me 3 or 4 hands to actually understand what the hell I was doing because the tutorial wasn't written very well.
Gotcha.
And so like I just botched 3 or 4 games and blew a whole bunch of money trying to figure it out. And then once I understood it, it was like, oh, and I don't think I've lost. I think I've lost maybe 1 or 2 games since I figured it out. And part of that is because now that I'm able to cheat, it's really hard to lose.
Which is great.
Yeah.
If you need a little cash.
I also kind of wish there was, I mean, they gave you really good reasons for Kay to like distrust the rebellion and stick with the underworld. But again, I'm one of those players that's just like, I really like the rebellion and fighting against fascism and the Imperials and stuff. And I really wish there was a little bit more of a path where she could lean just a little bit more into going like, okay, I'll help the rebels a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than those things, like I feel like it's really pretty smooth. I think those are my major things. Like I wish coming out the other side that it had a little bit more of those. And some of those things can be fixed with some of the DLC, especially the job brokers. I just hope there's more variety of jobs, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when those are supposed to drop.
So we've got the first one that seems to be like a big Sabacc tournament heist situation that comes out in November, which is next month. And then the other one that comes out in spring next year. And then we don't have any word on any more. And hopefully more people just buy the game so that we can get more.
Right.
Because I would really like some more. I think there's still tons of playability left in the game. And I think that there's tons of room for DLC. And there's plenty of room on the galactic map for them to even open up new planets and new underworld stuff. And it's not like it's set in Aftermath, or it's set before it's set before Return of the Jedi. So they could just keep moving the timeline forward and set it into the New Republic era. You know what I mean? Like they can get us to the Imperial Remnant. We could get into Mandalorian stuff if they wanted to, and or they could just keep it here in this time period and just kind of expand some of the underworld offerings and kind of give us the droid Gotra or whatever. We don't even need a sequel. They could just add more DLC and add more planets.
Right. Here for all of it. Just more things, please. More beautiful clothes to look at. More cool. Listen, I love that Donka is borderline the Mrs. Roper of Star Wars, right? She's kind of got that older, big statement jewelry situation going on. I love everything about it.
It's fun too. Like it is. There's something really interesting about evoking this stress in the game where you don't know what decision to make because it feels like they're both going to bite you in the ass because you're dealing with awful people on all sides.
Right.
Like, especially with the Pike Syndicate, right? Like in Gorak, where it's like, do I tell him this or not tell him this? Do I hide this information from these people or do I not? And, later in the game, you get enough reputation with everybody where it doesn't really matter. You can just honor the deal. You get enough reputation and money where it doesn't matter. Where it's just like, I'll always honor the deal. I don't need to worry about the extra money or selling people out. But earlier in the game, it's like, I need money fast because I need to do this so I can get this.
Right.
So I'm going to sell this person out. Or there was a time where, I double crossed Bib Fortuna at one point. And I felt horrible about it. Or no, I didn't double cross him. I double crossed somebody else. And it was because Bib Fortuna threatened me. And I was like, I just got in their good graces. And he's like, I don't want Jabba after me. And like, I saw what happened to Han Solo. And like, it actually forces you to think about those things.
Yeah. My thing is that, and I know people have done this, so I know it's doable. But my thing is that I want to stay cool with everybody. So like, I want to be every crime syndicate's favorite.
Yeah, no, I that's where I'm at now. And actually that was Kingston's goal too. Like Kingston stopped advancing the story until he could get an excellent with everybody. And it helps a ton actually too, because when you get a mission where it's like, hey, I'm Crimson Dawn and I need you to plant a listening device in the Pike Syndicate's, place.
Right.
If you're excellent with the Pike Syndicate, you can walk in,
stroll in
90. You can stroll in all the way up to their restricted area. Then you have to start sneaking, otherwise they'll start shooting at you. But getting that 90% of the way in helps a ton. And so, yeah, I'm in my game. I'm still up into excellent with everybody. And there's clothing that they give you. So if you get in excellent with everybody all the way up to the top, they all give you special clothing. That gives you special abilities.
I love it. I know about thief pants.
So Crimson Dawn and the Pike Syndicate both give you like what I think are the best clothes. Crimson Dawns give you like the best sneaking clothes. And it gives you a whole bunch of abilities that help you sneak and like take people down better. And not get detected as well during stealth missions. And
Right.
The Pike Syndicate gives you sort of like really fashionable, sort of like Imperial-ish clothes. So like if you squint from a distance, it looks like you're an Imperial officer.
Right.
And so like it's harder for the Imperials to detect you. And if you're wanted, that wanted status lasts a lot less. It doesn't last as long. And they just lose you faster. And that's super helpful when you're breaking into Imperial facilities, especially because like there's a point in the middle of the game, like later in the game, if you break into the Imperial facilities and get wanted, and they start sending death troopers after you, it's not that big of a deal because you can just go murder the death troopers and clear your wanted status, and it's not a big deal. But like through the middle of the game, like if the game were like 6 acts, act 2 through 5, it's a big pain in the ass because the Empire will not stop hunting you, and the only way to get them to stop is to go kill those death troopers and clear your name, or have them kill you or arrest you. And it's exhausting, and they're hard to kill. And having the Imperial costume and having them lose you does help.
Right.
And the only way to get that is to get in good with the Pike Syndicate.
Well, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. It's so fun.
I just need to set aside time. This is the hardest part.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that after my next big trip, I don't have a lot of travel until the end of the year, so I'm hoping that I can squeeze in more time to goof off.
I hope so.
Me too.
So you haven't gotten your ship really flying yet much, have you?
No, I haven't gotten Jack yet. I'm really behind. It's like every time I think like, oh, that Sunday I'm gonna do blobbity bloop, and I'm gonna just like play and play and play, and then like I realize I have been neglecting 7 other things, and I'm like, oh, I guess I can't do that today, and then that keeps happening, and then I'll have to get on a plane, and then I'll come back, and then I'll be like, oh, but tomorrow, and then it's like, no, girl, do you remember all that stuff that's on your to-do list? You have to do that because you have to leave again in 3 days, and that's how my life has been for the last 2 months. Boop. I think I was home like 7 days in September.
Jeez.
It might have been more than that, but it felt that way for sure. I think I calculated it was like 7 or 8 because I would be home and then gone in 2 days, and there's a lot of those.
I kind of feel you. I wasn't gone. I mean, I was actually. I went to like 2 conventions, broke my ankle, and had COVID, and played this game. But that was literally, like what I just listed was literally all I did except for write books. I calculated it out. I finished one 2 days ago, but in 100 days starting early July, I wrote 3 books.
Nice.
And it was like, that I played this game as much as I did is shocking to me. When I put it in that, it's like all I did was write books, play Outlaws, break my ankle, and go to conferences and get sick. That was it. That's all I did.
Yeah. Listen, adult life is very, very busy.
Yeah.
It's also like, I feel like we're of course off base, so I apologize. But prior to the pandemic, I was on a pretty grueling schedule where I would like be home on like maybe Saturday or maybe just Sunday, Monday, record on Tuesday, and then I would leave from my office right to the airport on Tuesday afternoon and then be going, either to New York or LA usually, and I would then get home on Saturday or Sunday, and I would just repeat that cycle over and over, and it was grueling. And then I got to stay home for a long time, and it was amazing. And now I feel like I'm getting dangerously close to that old schedule.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. Like, I kind of, I see that meme all the time where it's like, I wish there was an adult life mode on games where you could, if you've been away from the game for long enough, it would say, I see you've been away from this game for a month. Would you like a brief tutorial and a refresher on where you are in the story?
That would be the dream, yes.
Yeah. Because there are definitely games where I started Mass Effect. At one point during the pandemic, people were like, you should really try Mass Effect. And I started the first one, and I got pretty deep into it, and I've never picked it up again. And I would love to maybe, but now I'm like, do I have to start all over? Would I need to pick up where I was? I don't even remember what it was about or what the controls were. What if it had that feature where it was like, hey, here's what happened. Here's what you did. Here's the big choices you made, and here's how you play again. I'd probably go right back to it.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I'm a fan of this concept.
But Star Wars Outlaws, the story was so good. I do think so. I think that there's something for you in that you'll want to go through and finish the story, even though it means leaving Tatooine. But the thing is that even after you finish the story, you can always just go back to Tatooine and stay there.
Right.
There's nothing that keeps you away from Tatooine. And the story's really good. What happens with Zarek Besh and everything that goes down and what's really going on is really interesting. And I think it's a really cool concept for Star Wars. And watching some of the cutscenes from the beginning over again with Kingston after I'd beaten it, it's actually really amazing how well the dialogue and the writing plays into what happens later with the reveals and stuff. It's actually really sharp, and they plant the seeds. They plant the seeds of the twists and turns really well from the very beginning.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it's really, really well written. In ways that it's like I almost didn't clock it because it took me so long to get from beginning to end, that going through it again with Kingston as he was doing it, I was like, oh, they were really thinking ahead about these things and crafting this in a way that was much more meticulous than I realized.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, I mean, I part of it too is that I haven't had, outside of like talking to people online, I haven't had a lot of real life friends who have played it, which I think would also egg me on a bit more, because we are all in kind of the same boat of like pedal to the metal life right now. So hopefully we can all relax and have a very Star Wars end to the year. That's my personal hope I'm putting out to the universe. We're gonna play Sabacc, we're gonna play Outlaws, we're gonna drink drinks in the cantina, and we're gonna have a great finale to 2024.
That sounds terrific.
That's to me too. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
So, anything you're hoping to see in Star Wars Outlaws?
More Rhodians.
There's a moment.
More
with
Shadra
Rhodians.
fans.
You get plenty of Shadra fans. Oh my lord. There's a character you're going to lose your mind for that's a Shadra fan.
Great.
2 core members of your team that you're going to find are a Shadra fan and a Rhodian.
Then I'm golden.
Yeah.
That's all I need. It's all I need in life.
There is a moment with a Rhodian that's going to break your heart, though.
I feel like there always is.
Yeah.
There's always a moment in a video game where I like have to hurt a Rhodian for it to work. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how there's also often always a moment where I have to do something bad to a droid. I don't like that either. Right, even in like the Star Wars bounty hunter stuff you can do on Batuu, I don't want to turn in the droids. I love the droids. I don't want to turn them in, but you kind of gotta.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hope you enjoy the rest of it. I'm really excited for the DLC, and I hope folks give it a shot. I wonder if part of the sales is just that it has to be a next gen system too.
I think that's a huge part of it. Like, you have to have a PS5, and that is the thing. I know. I mean, I have talked to friends of ours who are like, I want to play it, but I don't want to get a whole other console. And it's like, well, I guess eventually, man.
I mean, this is what I mean. Like, when I got a PS5, it was anticipating this and Jedi Survivor.
Same. This was the thing that flipped it over for me. So, I mean, I hope eventually as people upgrade, it'll have a long tail kind of life where people will get into it. But I do think that's been part of the problem.
Yeah, I will say, if you're on the fence about a PS5, this and Jedi Survivor are worth the cost of entry.
I think so too. I mean, I have also been playing Survivor, which is another reason I'm going slow here. I got to like the Fallen Order and Survivor quite late, so I'm playing those all sort of simultaneously.
That makes sense.
Because I am behind on all things. I used to game so much that I'm like, how did I let this slip away? That's how everything works, right?
You're an adult.
I'm an adult. It's a dirty word. Here we are. Just trying to get our day-to-day life together.
Yeah. All right. Well, Holly, do you want to tell people about your new book and where they can find you?
Sure. Yeah, the book is out. Killer Cocktails is out wherever you buy books now. You can get it. It's historical true crime with cocktails to go with each story. There is also a mocktail to go with each story. So if you're not a drinker of alcohol, no worries. We got libations for you too. It's very nerve-wracking to have that out in the world, but there it is. You can find me on Twitter as Surliest Girl and on Instagram as SurlyGirly5. And other than that, I'm still doing Stuff You Missed in History class and Criminalia, which is... Ooh, are you okay?
I dropped my pen. I'm sorry.
You're okay. And Criminalia, which is the basis for the book Killer Cocktails. And other than that, I'm here with you. So what are you up to?
There's the new Star Wars Topps Chrome Galaxy trading cards that are coming out. I wrote the backs to that entire set, so that's coming out this week, allegedly. And you can get those wherever you get trading cards. So that's really cool. And I should have some pre-order information about my next BattleTech book pretty soon.
Excitement.
Yeah, no, there's some really cool stuff coming, and I'm really excited about it. You can find me across social media at Swankmatron. I'm trying to transition from Twitter to Blue Sky at Swankmatron, but I'll probably still be on both for a while, but I'm finding less and less reasons to be on Twitter. So take that as you will. Or you can find me on swankmatron.com if you need signed copies of any of the books. And as far as Full of Sith, you can go to fullofsith.com for the entire back catalog of episodes. You can email us at holocron@fullofsith.com, and we'd love to hear from you. And please do your part, rate and review the show wherever it is you listen to it, and be sure to tell your friends. So, unless you think there's anything else, Holly.
No, I think that was a very comprehensive wrap-up.
Then, for super producer Mike Pilot, and for Holly Frey, I'm Bryan Young, and the Force will be with you always.
Sir, if you'll not be needing me, I'll close down for a while.